Well, it's morning where I am. So good morning. I got my New York City cup. I got my coffee. It's a little bit cold because I've been sitting here distracted by the internet. Anyway, I wanted to share with you a time-lapse video of a painting I did digitally on my iPad using Procreate. And this is a pretty straightforward one. I received one of those messages from you, whatever messages come on, there's a couple different things on your phone, There's one I get messages on a lot, it's green, and then there's another one I don't get messages on often, it's blue. I think that's like when Facebook people try to contact you. So Robert and I have an acquaintance, a friend, in I think it's Alabama. I'm not sure if she's in Alabama. I think she's in Alabama. Anyway, her name is Jolene Roxbury, and she's an acquaintance by radio because she did a radio show, or does a radio show. It's funny lady, and we didn't own the radio station we worked for. If we had, we would have had her show on the air. She was always wanting the show on the air at the station. We didn't have a big station, so she didn't miss much. But she had a good show. And anyway, what I liked about her show and her approach to life was that she's funny, and she sees humor in things, and that makes life better. It's better than complaining. It's better than always harping on the same couple of topics that usually radio people do, So she was fun. She was on our show. She came down once a long time ago with a friend, and we got to know her a little bit by that. She gave me some beads, some Mardi Gras beads. She gave me some huge Mardi Gras beads. They were Mardi Gras balls more than beads. But and she gave me some pralines. I've liked pralines ever since, but I've never had those pralines since. Anyway, they were the better ones. I get them here in Florida. They're good. All right, enough of that. You want to know about the art, right? So she sent me a picture of a friend of hers. Very, very pretty picture. Very pretty woman. And very interesting name. The woman's name is America. She goes by Amy, and she spells it A-M-E. I don't have any of the information in front of me. That she sent me a little message, so I'll read that when I do the voiceover of the time lapse. But what struck me about the picture, I'm doing a lot of pictures, and I do a lot of digital, and I do a lot of traditional. What I'm usually looking for is something that somehow moves me. I don't want to sound corny, but if it moves me, and if there's a landscape and it moves me, it's just because there's something about it. I don't know that I need to explain it, or that even if I did, that anybody would understand. But the picture has to move me, and I have to be able to see. If it's a reference photo, I have to be able to see in my mind that it's going to make for a good painting. And if the photograph is perfect just as it is, why do a painting of it, And quite often the photographs are perfect as they are, so that was kind of a nonsense thing to say, wasn't it? But anyway, so Jolene sent me this picture, this photograph of a beautiful young woman who is her friend, standing in a beautiful dress, a long, down to the floor dress, or in this case, down to the water, because she was standing in some very shallow water. And I feel like I recognized the water, not the body of water, but I recognized the tint of the water, because here in the South, there are, and maybe elsewhere, I don't know, but there are a lot of places that have lakes that have a brown tint to the water from tannic acid. At least that's what I'm told. I'm not an expert. So I recognize that tint, and of course I recognize palm trees in the background. So I believe she's just across the Florida state line. I think she's in Alabama somewhere. So what moved me about the picture, however, was none of the things I just said. What moved me about the picture was this glow in the woman. It's the best way to say it. Now, I don't want to get all fatherly or old manny on you, but there's something about women, young women, that glows when they are dressed up. You know what I mean? There's something about a woman in a beautiful dress and how she glows. It's something men don't do. We don't do this. We don't glow. And it's not like it's forced. It's a natural thing. It's almost like the light of God himself comes shining through a woman who is glowing, you know? And so that's what I was moved by the glow. And so I knew that if I was going to do a painting of this young woman, I had to capture that glow. And I hope I did. So you'll see in the time lapse that I spent a lot of time on her face, because that's where you see the glow. You see the glow in her face. The rest of the picture was just the rest of the picture, but it is her face. So let me introduce you to America, and thank you, Jolene, if you happen to see this video. This is a long intro, but I wanted to explain the part about the glow. I wanted to explain, you know, men have a reputation of seeing women, I guess, in a sexual way. I guess that's what people think. And I'm not saying that's not true. What I'm saying is it's not necessarily true, and it's not always true. And I guess the older I get, the less it's true. Okay? Don't make any judgments on me. But you know, you become more fatherly, more old, more older. Okay, enough of that. I'm trying to be a philosopher here, and I'm just not good at it. All right, let's get to the painting. Hey, go get a cup of coffee. Let's do this together. So that's the finished painting. The time lapse is a feature of the program or the app called Procreate. And if you're not familiar with Procreate and you would like to learn how to paint digitally, it's probably one of the best tools you can use. There are probably others besides Photoshop. However, Photoshop is kind of the industry standard. I like Procreate because I can do it on my iPad. That means I can take it anywhere. All right, so what I did was I used the reference photo. Let me show you that. Let me get myself out of the picture first. All right, there's the reference photo right there. Okay, so you can see what that is. Let me remove that and come back in. So this is just simply me sketching in the landscape behind America. Just think about that name. Her parents must have named her America. She's from Colombia, from what Jolene wrote to me. Must have named her because they loved America, and here she is living in America. It's the American dream, right? There's so much that we have to fix with America, but at the same time, there's a lot that we've done right. We haven't done everything wrong. So, okay, so you saw I sketched in, what I used was the dry brush on Procreate. It's a brush that emulates the look of a dry brush, and it gives it an oil painting look. So does the turpentine brush. So I did the background mostly, maybe completely with dry brush, and then I sketched America using the turpentine brush. So that's what you see that I'm doing here. I'm rough sketching as much as I can America into the painting. Just trying to get all the dimensions right, and I'm eyeballing it. I'm not using any grid. Although there's nothing wrong with using a grid, and in fact, using a grid is so easy with Procreate because it has a grid. I think I used the grid later on. If you'll notice, the horizon is kind of wobbly, kind of not straight, nor really horizontal. And in the real world, the other side of a lake wouldn't necessarily be horizontal, wouldn't necessarily be perfectly straight. The reference photo, however, looked like it kind of was, so I did go back and fix the wobbly, unhorizontal landscape. As I mentioned in the intro, I was mostly concerned with America's face. I loved that glow that she had, and it's a glow that beautiful women have, and they don't need to be young women. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you why. Not why. Yeah, I can't tell you why. That's for sure. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you how many times I've heard an older woman say that when she was young, she was beautiful. And I know they think, well, you're just being nice when I say you're still beautiful. I know, but for some reason, they don't really think they are. But they are. There's a glow to people. And, there's a glow to men, too. And there's a glow to children, of course. There's a real glow for children. Hey, I paint a lot of pictures of children. I just love seeing their faces when something fun is happening in their lives. And it can be so fleeting. It can be so momentary. But that's kind of what I look for. I've admired people who do portraits, but I'd rather it not posed. However, in this case, it looks like America was posing. The photograph has her arm bent like that, and you'll see in a little bit I unbend it. I put it down by her side. Now, using a digital format like Procreate or Photoshop or anything is one of the good things about it is you can correct or change something in the painting that you don't like, that you think should be different, that you made a mistake on, and I do use the digital tools to do that. In traditional paint, actual paint, you'd have to paint over something. If it's oil, you have to wait for it to dry, which usually takes a week, which is a pain. If it's acrylic, you can wait, 20 minutes sometimes, or an hour, or a couple of hours if you need to, and it'll dry. Watercolor, you really have to start over. And gouache often comes to the rescue with a watercolor, because gouache can look like watercolor when you apply it over watercolor, if that makes sense, and have an opaqueness to it that will allow you to fix something or correct something or change something that you don't like. So in this picture, America was wearing a beautiful dress. I really, like, when I go to buy a dress, like a article of clothing for Robin, I don't buy it for myself. Don't go. I heard you. When I go to buy a garment for Robin, I have to look for a mannequin. I have a hard time seeing clothing on a hanger and imagining it on somebody. So what that tells me is that while this is a beautiful dress, America is a beautiful woman, or Amy. She goes by Amy, A-M-E. But I don't know her, but Jolene wrote that. So what I wanted to say is that I think the dress is beautiful, but I think Amy makes it beautiful. Does that make sense? Of course it makes sense. You see a dress on a hanger, you ladies, you can see it. You can see it's beautiful, but us guys, we don't see that. We see a piece of fabric on a hanger. Put it on you, then we see it's beautiful. And you know, your face is beautiful. This whole painting, my decision to do it is based on Amy's face. Jolene didn't ask me to do the painting. A lot of people ask me to do paintings, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But whether it's anything, it always has to move me in some way. So, you know, I lost a sister. Her name was Doreen. And I look back at photos of Doreen and I see that same glow in Doreen's face. Sometimes in her life, she was so excited to be alive. Sometimes. And those moments are just hard to, that you keep them in your memory, you know. So for an artist to be able to paint them, it's kind of a privilege. I painted a few pictures of Doreen. She was a beautiful woman too. So America struck me that way. Maybe America reminded me of Doreen. Maybe that's why. So in art, to comment on the art, I just simply finished the background. I put her reflection in the water, and there's the picture. So I don't have a whole lot more to tell you about the art. Whoa, look at that. Wow, that was pretty cool. That's when I lowered the arm. And I swear I didn't do it that quickly. That's the time-lapse feature. Wow, that was kind of cool. That was like animation, wasn't it? Okay. It was funny. Okay, I didn't know I was going to do that. Yeah, I lassoed her arm, more or less, and used a digital trick, and I pulled it down, for lack of a better way to tell you. Yeah, if you in real paint, you'd have to just paint it over. Okay. Well, that's it, kids. I hope you liked the video. I'm not professing to be an expert on video making. I'm not professing even to be an expert on painting. I'm just sharing what I do. Jolene, thank you for sending this to me. Hopefully it's I know it's digital. If it was an actual painting, I would send it to you. But digital, you can even take it and print it up at Walgreens or wherever. All right, be safe. Thank you for sending me the picture. And I hope America and her husband love it. And I hope I got to like this. All right, bye.